Welcome everybody to Crystal, Kyle, and Friends. Today we're talking to Tommy Veter of the Pod Save podcast. So there's Pod Save America, there's Pod Save the World, there's Pod Save Burundi, there's Pod Save Greenland, there's Pod Save Iceland,
need that one.
Pod Save Sweden. So really,
all needed at this point.
Yeah, they do. For real, because Trump wants to invade them all. And I'm really looking forward to this conversation. I feel like the Pod Save guys, they occupy a slightly different space than we do. Mm-hmm. They were certainly more aligned with just the Democratic Party structure than we've ever been. But of course, what we're seeing in this moment is what I would call the rapid radicalization of the Democratic base. Yeah. In the sense that now every Democratic podcaster I see sounds like us. Yeah.
Well, we cover, and I know you covered too, the I've Had It ladies.
They're amazing.
Just going incredible. In on AIPAC and going in on Hakeem Jeffries. Yep. Mm-hmm. And ripped Rahm Emanuel a new one. And I'm like, this is, yes. Yeah. We need this. Yes.
They're done. They're done with Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries, mm-hmm. Democratic leadership, the fecklessness. And it's a beautiful thing to see.
Yeah. It's so different from the previous, the first Trump administration. So different from the orientation we've seen from the Democratic base. And that's how you end up with the Zoran Mamdani, overwhelming victory in the Democratic primary,
baby. Too. Double-digit victory.
Most votes secured in a Democratic primary ever in history for the New York City mayoral race.
So we should bury that guy and not look at him as the future of the Democratic Party.
Yeah, we should definitely try to destroy him now as he's being mobbed for selfies as a rock star on the streets of New York City. That.
They finally found a Democrat who can win young men and win back these immigrant communities that flipped Republican.
Right.
So let's fuck him over.
Right.
Let's do that.
Let's smear him. Let's say he's a jihadist. Let's say he's an anti-Semite.
He said some real mean things about Jewish people, even though he hasn't said fucking anything.
Right.
Even the thing they said, globalized the Intifada, he didn't even say that.
Right. He got asked about it.
Right.
And then responded, gave a reasonable response. How dare you? Created a whole new, anyway. Yeah.
Ridiculous.
These will be fun things to talk to Tommy about because I'm curious his views on all this.
Definitely. And, he was part of the Obama administration, mm-hmm. and it particularly in regards to foreign policy. And so I'm curious to ask him, hey, were you involved with the Cuba normalization? Were you involved with the Iran agreement? Because now, in retrospect, I liked that stuff at the time.
Right.
But now, in retrospect, it's like, holy shit, this was so much better than what we have now, where we got a warmonger trying to wage war against everybody.
I think the JCPOA, the Iran agreement, is maybe the biggest Obama administration accomplishment.
It's up there.
It's definitely up there.
To us, it's that and the Cuba normalization. But I think if you ask most Democrats, they probably say Obamacare,
mm-hmm.
just because it was a big step in the right direction, even though it wasn't nearly as much as we wanted. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to the conversation. But before we get to that, so as you know, there was a horrific disaster, severe flooding in Central Texas, and you had these little girls who ended up dying. And I believe the death toll now in Texas is over 100. I read something like there's still 161 people missing.
There's a lot of people still missing.
So, it's horrible. And the part that the Republicans don't want to talk about is that, of course, Elon Musk and Trump, they cut NOAA, they cut NWS, which is the National Weather Service. They fired 600 people. They cut the number of weather balloons that go in the sky. So our forecasting ability now sucks balls. It is horrible. We've personally experienced this. Mm-hmm. Where we're looking at the fucking weather. Oh, it's going to stop raining in 1 minute. We're trying to play golf. It's going to stop raining in 1 minute. Fucking hour and a half later,
sky opens up.
It's still fucking raining cats and dogs, and you're like, this didn't used to happen. Yeah, when we were kids, the weather forecast might be a little iffy, but within the past, 5 years, if the weather app says it's going to do some shit, it's going to do some shit.
Right, especially when you're talking about not a week out, literally a half an hour from now.
Yeah.
And it was just totally wrong. And it's not just the cuts to National Weather. It's the fact that not only is the forecasting impaired, they forecast half as much rain as ultimately dropped. Right. But then, these key positions of people who are in charge of, okay, now we're going to go out to the community, communicate this forecast, make sure the weather plans are
severe weather experts, the main guys.
Right. They were, one of them in particular, pushed out through the fork in the road email, forced into retirement, takes the early buyout, and then they don't replace them. So not only do you have that guy who was known in the community as this is a veteran guy with lots of expertise in all these relationships, you don't have him, and you don't have anyone replacing him. And now that we're in the search and recovery phase, now you're talking about FEMA. And FEMA has been, there's just an ideological war on FEMA from Trump. He wants to get rid of it entirely.
Yeah, he says
send it all to the states.
He's trying to abolish it.
Exactly.
Illegally, by the way. None of this was approved by Congress, which you need to do. But he's just trying to, Empowerment Control Act, violating that again, withhold the money. That's what's happening.
Right, exactly. And so just at every single phase, you can see like, oh, it turns out that being able to forecast the weather, have warnings, communicate those warnings to the community, plan for, major disasters in an era where they're coming rapidly escalating because of the climate crisis, and then be able to recover on the other side. It turns out those are good things to have. Turns out that's a worthy investment of taxpayer dollars.
And this happened already, Crystal. This happened in Kentucky, where 27 people died because of severe storms and I think some tornadoes. And I covered it at the time. There were a handful of outlets that covered it. But it wasn't talked about like the crisis and scandal it was, that this was all avoidable. So now fast forward to, you have the right scrambling just embarrassingly, humiliating the way that they're trying to scramble to like cover Trump's ass over this, cover Elon's ass over this. And they are grasping, man, trying to find some narrative. This was sort of like right after the Epstein thing, where they scrambled for a day. Nobody landed on a narrative. Then after a day, they finally landed on like, oh, blame the Democrats.
Pam Bondi.
Or Trump is blackmailing the deep state. Like they came up with ridiculous. We have a similar thing here. So this is Charlie Kirk responding to the disastrous Texas flooding.
The Democrats, they're so despicable. The Democrats are not lifting a finger to remember the well over 100 people that have died in Texas Hill Country. What you are not being told by the media anywhere is that the death toll likely would not have been as high if it wasn't for DEI. This Texas tragedy is just the latest example. It's not just incompetence. This is DEI working to undermine meritocratic institutions, and more people likely died than otherwise would have because of DEI.
So this is a point I made on my show the other day. You will not be able to mature politically until you understand that part and parcel of the right-wing project, a foundation of the right-wing project, is just to lie. Like, just lie. Just hump your narrative no matter what.
Yeah.
So now, it's somehow black people's fault or brown people's fault that Elon Musk and Donald Trump destroyed our weather forecasting ability, directly leading to these deaths. And then the other thing is, half the time, why are you politicizing? This is unbelievable. Meanwhile, what happened when we had the wildfires in California? How fast were they? This is Gavin Newsom's fault. This is Karen Bass's fault. How dare they?
Oh, not only that, Trump, in his campaign at the end, Hurricane Helene, I mean, completely politicized that, came in and claimed, without much to work with, that Biden was abandoning them and there was no rescue efforts and FEMA was, a mess, and claiming that Biden was not delivering in terms of disaster recovery. Not telling people that, hey, when I get in there, I'm going to get rid of disaster recovery altogether. So they are the first to politicize it. In fact, I've been thinking about when most Democrats talk about this, they put in the caveats of, we can't know for sure whether the forecast, we can't know for sure this. They would have no qualms about saying these little girls are dead because of what you did, like directly placing the blame. And it also reminds of, remember after the plane crash here, where the helicopter hit the passenger plane, horrible, deadly incident here, after again, they'd been, attacking, like going after traffic control, whether the air traffic controllers and they're in charge and they're, trying to spin that one. They reach for DEI in that instance as well. Like, this is what they go to every time. And I don't see how people don't see through it, because it's so naked and obvious that this is their go-to every single time.
Yeah, but I'm really losing my mind over here too, though, because Hakeem Jeffries released a statement after this and didn't mention the cuts. Then
what?
You didn't know this?
No.
Then he went on TV and did an interview, didn't mention the cuts.
What?
And it's like, this is political malpractice. This is negligence. Like you said, if the shoe was on the other foot, how quickly that Joe Biden has blood on his hands, Kamala Harris has blood on her hands. What happened here was 100% avoidable. This is directly on them. Look at how they cut the National Weather Service. But when it's them, like, nobody's even pointing it out. We're the only people pointing it out. Literally, we're the only people. Nobody in the Democratic Party is pointing it out. Like they haven't. It's like they haven't done the homework, or there's something about decorum that's holding them back, where they know, hey, if we say this, they're going to accuse us of politicizing it, so let's not say it so they don't accuse us of politicizing it. It's like they're constantly on the defense, and they don't understand this is the era of a relentless offense.
Yeah.
That you need to control the narrative. To your point, Trump literally flipped on a dime from attacking Biden for doing a bad job with FEMA, which wasn't even true, but he said it so much that everybody believed it, to when he got in there, he literally did a press conference in a disaster area where he said, we're going to get rid of FEMA, we're going to abolish FEMA, we're going to send it back to the states. And it's like, to have that degree of shamelessness, where you can go from, I'm going to be the guy to make FEMA better, to I'm going to get rid of FEMA, like that. And the Democrats are not even playing the same game. I said this the other day. They show up with an AK-47 for a fight. Hakeem Jeffries is holding a fucking pillow.
Yeah.
What are we doing here?
I mean, it's not just political malpractice. It's like humanity malpractice. Like, it really matters that we are able to forecast the weather, especially since these people aren't going to do jack shit apparently about the climate crisis. So we're going to have more of these 100-year floods happening every year. We're going to have more hurricanes, more devastation, more loss of life. It matters that we can at least predict what's coming so people can be prepared. It matters that people can be warned and have whatever mitigation factors are in place to be able to, mitigate the loss of life as much as possible. Like, these things, it matters that after the fact we have funds to be able to recover, and those aren't distributed on a partisan basis based on whether or not you like the mayor or the governor or the whoever or the policy that's been implemented in that particular region, that particular state. Like, these things, it's not just a political game or a political point to make. It genuinely actually matters. And we see it in the most horrifying way in real time right now with all of these little girls who, they're like 8-year-old girls, like, the age of our daughter, who are, that's it. Like, that's it. Parents devastated. I watched this dad who was sifting through the riot. I mean, I can't even think about it. So it's not a game. This stuff actually matters. It turns out that some government functions actually are life and death. And if you're a Democratic Party leader and you can't say so, like, please resign. Please resign.
Yeah.
Go do something else. This is not for you.
If we can't, this is a point I made on my show, if we can't fix it now, when are we going to fix it? If you can't take a situation like this where they just cut the NWS and NOAA.
Right.
They just did it. 600 people fired, weather balloons slashed. We know that fucked up our forecasting ability. It just happened. And now you have a natural disaster, which was totally avoidable. People could have evacuated if you had the proper warning system in place. If you can't take this moment and hammer that message home and shame them into refunding it, when are we ever going to fix it?
Right.
This is the moment where you scream and get it fixed, where you apply the political pressure and get it fixed. We've seen the pressure work already. You've made this point in regards to Kilmar Abrego Garcia. The media picked that story up. They would not shut up about it. It was all day, every day. I would turn on MSNBC. They'd be talking about it. They'd be calling Trump a fascist. They'd be pointing out how this guy was totally innocent, didn't have a criminal record, et cetera, et cetera. Democratic politicians got the message. Chris Van Hollen hopped on a plane and went to fucking El Salvador, right? Other Democratic politicians went to El Salvador too.
Yeah.
The pressure was relentless. The Supreme Court, 9-0, you got to facilitate his return. They stalled, they stalled, they stalled. Then they fucking caved because it hit a fever pitch. That's how you do politics. You do politics by setting a narrative, being aggressive, and demanding something happen. But in the wake of this, if you can't say 2 + 2 = 4, like you said, get the fuck out of politics. Because there's a lot of normal people out there, every Dem podcaster included, that if they had the reins and they were the head of the Democratic Party, this would be all they're talking about right now. To guarantee that you shame these people into refunding it, hire back the 600 people, put the same number of weather balloons up there. Like, it is astonishing. And let's just keep it real. And I've made this point 1,000 times recently. But, like, the Republican Party, like, especially the leadership, the politicians, they are just fucking evil. They are just evil. You would think there would be, even quietly by yourself, one moment of self-reflection about, damn, man, these cuts really fucked up. With 7 plane crashes in the Trump regime, and they slashed the flight safety officials. 90% of our air traffic controller towers are understaffed.
Right.
You would think they'd have one moment of, like, maybe
messed up on that
maybe
one.
we should hire some.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They don't do it because they don't care. We are now in a country that literally doesn't care about solving problems. Literally. And the clearest case of this was when we started seeing a mass shooting at a school like twice a year. And then what would happen? At the beginning, it was, oh, you need to do something. We got to make background checks, ban the high-capacity magazines, red flag laws, whatever. At the beginning, there was a lot of talk like that. But as time went on, it became, thoughts and prayers. Thoughts and prayers. And it got to the point now where you could have a mass shooting in a school where 30 kids get killed, and the next day, it'll be a fucking yawn.
Yeah, they don't even thoughts and prayers anymore.
Yeah, they'll just, if you don't get at least double-digit number of kids killed, they won't even talk about it. They won't even talk about it.
Yeah.
They'll just move on. And so now we're fundamentally incapable as a country of solving problems. Pointing to say, this is bad, we need to do something about this. Now it's a narrative war, and it's a game where Trump and the Republicans spin it. They try to deflect from the fact that they're destroying our government's ability to do anything positive, and then they use that fact to turn around and go, see, government sucks.
Yeah.
Right? They destroy the government, and then when something bad happens because the government wasn't ready, they go, see, the government sucks. We got to cut it more. Cut it more.
I think it's, in a sense, it's even more foundational than like giving up on solving problems. There's an inability to tell good from evil. Yeah, I was thinking about this in the context of the sanctions on Francesca Albanese, who's the UN special rapporteur. And she's put out these extraordinary and accurate and courageous reports about the ongoing genocide. Her most recent report called out some 1,000 different large corporations for their profiting off of a genocide, including Google, including Microsoft, IBM, like all of the big, Palantir, obviously. And so she is someone who has acted genuinely nobly, like trying to do what she can to highlight the ongoing atrocities and protect life, especially innocent lives of, men, women, and children. And we're sanctioning her. Our administration is sanctioning her. Meanwhile, we're taking ISIS off the Syria branch of ISIS off the terror list because we've struck some deal with them. I was thinking about this in the context too of Netanyahu going on the Nelk Boys podcast. And their worldview is so twisted around that they conflate being edgy and going against the woke mob with sitting down with a literal indicted war criminal who's committing a genocide. I mean, it's this up is down character of the times that we live in that is so deeply disturbing to me. We can't even tell, the society seems incapable, or certainly the leadership of the society seems incapable of telling good from evil. And I don't know. I think it's hard to imagine how you sort of right that ship.
And that's why, exactly what you said, beautifully said, by the way, that's why I'm out of patience.
Yeah.
That's why you don't say, I feel like now the project of trying to hold hands and walk people through it and slowly wake them up, that would be the equivalent of trying to go to a Nazi concentration camp guard and be like, let's have a discussion, bro.
Yeah. I see where you're coming from,
But, in some ways, bro, let me try to, give me your hand. Let's walk through this, bro. What I think you need to do is, maybe ease up on the gas chambers a little bit, bro. It's if you're still doing that, you lost the plot. And dare I say, you're part of the fucking problem. We're not going to get out of this by holding hands and singing Kumbaya. It's not going to fucking happen.
No, that moment is in the past.
Right. And now more than ever, I understand the, left-wing movements that sort of became authoritarian. I look at it, I'm like, I kind of get it. Because if you're up against this just 100% committed authoritarian movement that doesn't believe in truth and actively is purposely trying to harm everybody and everything, yeah, sometimes it's hey, man, we got to batten down the hatches here and make sure that we control this shit and that we keep the fucking demons at bay. I get it. I get it in a way that I previously never got it. Mm-hmm. I'm the old school libertarian leftist bro where, hey, say what you want, do what you want, as long as you're not hurting anybody else, and then we'll try to create a good system otherwise. But it's how do you handle genuine and sincere evil that's in your face every single day? You know what I'm saying?
I do. And I don't actually know the answer to that. I don't. Because it's the things that are on the table now, that the genies that are out of the bottle, how did we learn none of these lessons of history? How are we in this place? Every day, it's still shocking and surreal to me that we live in a world where Netanyahu can be doing a genocide and sitting down with the Nelk Boys, where we can see butchered babies on our timeline every day, where these little girls can be, dead because we cut the National Weather Service. Why? Why would we do that? Throwing millions of people off of healthcare so that we can finance a tax cut for the rich. I mean, these are cartoonishly evil things.
Yeah, and you made this point the other day, and I've thought this as well. It's been very eye-opening to watch in real time the right's ability to, over time, always just degrade into Nazism.
Well, Grok proved it, right?
Yeah, I used to be the guy who thought it was unfair to make that argument, because you look at it and it's like there's all different types of right-wing ideologies, right? There's like libertarian right-wingers, there's like religious right-wingers, there's like this whole spectrum, like pro-capitalist, pro-like monarchist. There's all these different flavors and varieties of right-winger, and so I thought it was unfair to say, look, when this gets to its logical conclusion, it's always going to be Nazism. But now when you look at the current landscape, it's like, holy shit, that's actually true. That, you know, Elon changes the code in Grok, and like 7 seconds later, it's like fucking Zig Heiling on the timeline.
It's like, and call me Mecha Hitler. Like, what?
It's like, that didn't take long for this motherfucker to go full Nazi.
Yeah.
You know? And you've seen that happen in real time to so many, like it might start out with some, hey man, I'm concerned about the health and safety of children, so I think maybe we shouldn't let them decide if they're trans until they're 16. Like, it starts out with that, and then it's just fucking goose-stepping. Like, fast forward 6 months, that motherfucker's goose-stepping. It's kind of crazy. Yeah. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Like, it is such an eye-opening moment to me, which is why I think I've been a lot more aggressive in calling out the right and not taking any of their shit or falling for their head fakes. That's the other thing. The head fakes drive me crazy. Somebody like Joe Rogan or Alex Jones, who in one moment of lucidity will say, you know, I kind of disagree with this. But then within a day, they're back to sucking them off. Because they're part of the broader political project, no matter what the nitpicky disagreements might be here or there. You know what I'm saying?
What we've seen from the right in like our modern political era is like during the George W. Bush administration, there was a lot of dog whistling, but there was like plausible deniability about just the like blatant racism and those sorts of it. There was like, you know, there was like an attempt to put some deniability, some like respectable, you know, decorum on top of it. And then Trump's real political innovation was just to come in and say, you all are like hinting at this stuff. I'm just going to fucking say it. I'm just going to fucking say it.
Yep.
And the base ate that shit up.
They loved it.
And now in Trump 2.0, it's gone even further. So now you have, you know, Stephen Miller, who even Trump is like, this guy's an actual white, like just wants white people in this country. He's running the immigration policy. They're building alligator Alcatraz, doing ASMR videos of people, you know, this like fascist porn, marching through a freaking park on horseback, kitted up in military gear, sending people with no due process to CCOT. And you see influencers like, you know, Charlie Kirk posting, we shouldn't have anybody come in from the, what did he call it, the third world? Just, we should have no brown people. I mean, the Nazism has just come right out and say it now. Not even a little bit of distance from it. That's what we've seen over the course of the past, you know, 20 plus years.
And I think the only upside is that now an equal and opposite radicalization is happening in the country, which is why you turn on that podcast you were talking about. What's the name again?
I've Had It.
The I've Had It podcast.
Yeah.
And they sound like us.
Yeah.
So
you're like, let me pull up APAC tracker and put fucking Kirsten Gillibrand on blast. Yeah.
Yeah, you're not. It's unavoidable that there is like a democratic equivalent of the Tea Party movement that's coming out now.
Yeah.
And I really don't think they have the capacity to keep the lid on it this time.
I don't think so either.
I can't see them twisting enough arms, putting their finger on the scale in the primary enough to get somebody like fucking Alyssa Slotkin through.
No.
It's not happening.
It's
not happening. So that's the only upside, is that now I think the base has certainly woken up to like, this is how we have to fight these people. It's just a matter of dragging the politicians to that point or getting politicians who are more than willing to do it. Hey guys, we just talked to Tommy Vietor of Pod Save America and Pod Save the World. We talked about the radicalization and unification of the Democratic base. We also talked about his role in the Obama administration working on foreign policy. He had a lot of insight. It was a really interesting conversation. Highly recommend you watch the whole thing. If you'd like to do that, sign up below on Substack.